Hi Xavier fans, my name is Ashley Wanninger and I'm joined here today with Val Ackerman, Commissioner of the Big East. Thank you for being here today, Val.
It's great to be here, Ashley.
It's an honor to be here with you on our campus.
Thank you.
Is this your first time on Xavier's campus?
It is my first time. It will not be my last time.
Okay, awesome.
Very exciting to be here. Had a complete tour, had a chance to meet with a lot of the folks on the staff. Looking forward to a game later, and it will be the first of, I hope, many visits here to Cincinnati.
So you're going to the game?
I'm going to the game.
So you've had a long day, and we're getting this
Yeah.
rolling right now. We're going to see some more basketball later.
My day gets even better with, with an actual sports event to attend.
So what did you think of Xavier's campus?
It was great. As I said, I've not been here. I haven't had a chance to visit Cincinnati much over the years, but it's a great city. I know there's a lot of development going on here on campus. Father Graham and the board have grand plans about additional facilities and some refurbishments, and it's going to be great. We still look forward to having Xavier in the league, and mostly to have a chance to meet the people.
We're excited to be in the league.
So see what it's going to be a great win-win, I think. Yes. And then to have the chance to meet some student athletes like yourself and then people from the athletic department. I had a chance to meet some of the key supporters, so it seems like a real family atmosphere here.
Yes, it is.
Great to be part of that.
Thank you. Well, we have another question for you. As a student athlete, as we're just talking about student athletes, do you think it has helped your decision making from being a student athlete and now your successful career right now?
Well, I can tell you without any qualification, having been through an experience like you've been. I was a student athlete myself a long time ago, but I played women's basketball for the University of Virginia. Went through probably a lot of what you've been through in terms of juggling, gone to class, gone to practice, fitting homework in between bus trips to games, all those things. And it was really hard, and it was hard sometimes to lose and to come back the next day, but I can tell you it was really one of the best experiences of my life. And so much of what happened to me after, I sort of directly attribute to having had that experience. So, I think this is an extraordinary opportunity. I'm sure it's been for you to be here and to be doing all the things you've done. And I'm telling you, when you get out in the real world with this bag of experiences that you've had, having been part of a team, having learned how to manage your time, having picked up, if the game didn't go so well for you, having to figure out, okay, tomorrow here's what I'm going to do differently so that doesn't happen again. If you've been through all of that, when you go out into the real world, you're so much better for it. So, as I said, that was certainly my experience, and that's why I really believe very strongly in this as an element of higher education. There's really unmatchable what sports does compared to some of the other activities that are available.
Well, you're a very influential person, and I think I can speak for my teammates and myself that it's very exciting to have you as our commissioner.
Thank you very much.
So I have another question for you. Who has influenced you the most, since we're kind of talking about the whole role model situation, who has influenced you the most to do some of the successful things that you've done in your life?
Yeah, I would say, my parents, of course. I was very lucky because my parents were always supportive of everything I did. My dad was a high school athletics director, and he was really the guy that got me most interested in sports at a really young age. He was the biggest champion of girls playing sports and me and so on. So I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for that, for sure. It's kind of funny, I hadn't thought of this when I first asked it, but my grandparents on my mother's side were immigrants. They came over from the Slovak Republic at the turn of the century, 1900, not the 2000s, 1900s that is. And I think back on what they did to get here. My grandmother sort of trooped across Europe to get on a boat to come to U.S., and they settled, and my grandfather was a coal miner, and sort of they lived that life. And I wouldn't be here. My mother wouldn't be here if my grandparents hadn't sort of made that, life-changing move for all of us in the end. So I would have to say them. And then I would say just professionally, I had the opportunity and privilege to work for David Stern, who is going to be retiring in a few months as the commissioner of the NBA after 30 years. I've worked very closely with him. An amazing leader, taught me so much about the sports business, about leading in the corporate world, because the NBA is a big corporation and big business at this point. Not a corporation per se, but a big business. And he just has taught me so much that I think about all the time. And to the extent that I've gained from the dealings with any one person, at least in my sports career, I'd have to say it's been him.
That's great. Well, we have one more question, and I think we're going to have a little fun one for you at the end. What are you looking forward to most in the Big East today and in the coming years?
You know, I have great hopes, as do the presidents, Father Graham and his colleagues, about the conference, what it can represent competitively. I mean, there's a real interest here on successes, not only in basketball but in other sports. But that's only part of it. I think the presidents understand that sports is just a part of what you as student athletes have to do every day, and they want to make sure that all fits together in the right way. You know, that you're getting not only a great sports education, but you're going to class and you're getting your degree and you're preparing for all the great things that you're going to do when you get out of this place. So to be part of a group of schools that understands that is really what it's all about for me, because I really believe in all that stuff. So to do well competitively, but also to be a leader in all those other areas that matter. And really to make sure that the Big East is sort of relevant. You know, we want to be a conference that people respect for a lot of reasons.
Do you have any advice for student athletes right now?
You know, I think student athletes today, you have an extraordinary opportunity. I mean, it's so unique, this ability to come to a university, have them support you in the way they do, to wear, you know, Xavier on your jersey. I mean, you know, I still think about that experience for me, you know, wearing Virginia on my, you know, my jersey. I mean, it was just the highest honor. And I hope student athletes understand the gravity of that and take that seriously and just give, you know, leave it all on the floor, is what I would say to them. Take advantage of this. It's a unique opportunity in your life. You'll look back in 20 years and say, wow, you know, those really were the glory days that I did that, and it was extraordinary. And don't let youth get wasted on the young. You know, take advantage, if you can, of everything that opportunity represents. And I'm telling you, it's going to come back in spades, because not a day goes by for me where that experience doesn't help me in some way.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity, and I just hope everybody will understand it and make the most out of it.
So you've done some extraordinary things in your lifetime so far. How do you balance the family life and the work life?
You know, it's really hard, is what I would say to you. You know, there's no secret formula here where it's easy. It's just really hard, and for men and women alike. I mean, there's fathers who make sacrifices professionally and lose time with their kids as a result of that. So it's just hard. You know, we live in a 24/7 world. You're expected to check email all the time. Travel is often part of work, including, especially in sports, where you have to go to games and so on. And that just demands a lot of sacrifice. And it's not easy to sort of prioritize and find the right way for that to fit together. And everybody's got different limits on just how much they can push and push and push. So some of it is time management. I think some of it is just knowing when to take the break and say, okay, you know, I'm sort of at my limit here. Let me just decompress for a few minutes and then I'll come back stronger. I think when it comes to raising kids, you really have to have a sense of priorities and be there when it matters most. If you can't be there all the time, you got to be there when it matters the most. And you have to have your support system, especially, you know, working moms, as I did. I had great support from people that, you know, my mother, my mother-in-law, we had a full-time babysitter. I mean, we had the whole sort of village there going to make it work for me when I was at the WNBA. But it is, you know, it's really hard. You know, it can be done, but everybody's got to figure out the right formula, whatever works best for them.
Thank you. Now we have the fun question for you. If you can meet any person in the world, who would it be and why?
Okay, now this is going to really probably surprise some people, but the person that I would like most to meet in the world that I've never met before, and I would just swoon, is Bruce Springsteen. Now, for, you know, to put some color against that, I'm from New Jersey. Springsteen came of age when I was a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
It was such a big deal that he was from New Jersey. He's coming out with Born to Run. I mean, he's saying the words New Jersey in songs. I mean, we are going crazy that this guy is from our state. He's representing us in sort of, you know, concerts around the country. I've seen him in concert many, many times. He's amazing. I saw him in concert last year. He came to Newark, and I went to this, and I've never met him in person. And if I could just spend 5 minutes with this guy and tell him that Thunder Road is my favorite song in the entire world, my life will have been complete. So There's others that
Yeah.
I'd love to meet, but if you were asking me for one name, that's the name I'm going to give you.
Today, that's
the name,
the
I'm
name
giving you
today. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, I hope you get that chance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here so much, Xavier fans. This is Val Ackerman, and we thank her for her hard work, her leadership, and her time today. Thanks.